episode. This video is sponsored by C4. We're not getting paid by them, and we don't have any sort of connection or ties to them, but we are just saying this video is sponsored by C4, so if by any chance they do see this and they want to actually activate some sort of sponsorship, a genuine one, we'd be all for it. So putting it out there now, speaking into the universe, and hopefully it comes true.
Your lips to God's ears.
Welcome back, everyone. Episode 2 of the Fandomonium show. It's your host, Chris Mullings, here again with my guy, Mr. Rey Soto.
How's it going?
Pretty good. I know, well, for the people out there who don't know, Ray recently came back from Canton, Ohio. Went to the Hall of Fame game. How was that, man?
It was a surreal experience. Just the whole culture of the town. It's just football. It's like, it looks like an old Western town from a movie with just a big amusement park and football stadium just in the middle, and that's it. Besides that, there's nothing else going on. So to see what was going on, to get the amusement park and see all the Hall of Famers, it was really cool. The museum was the best part.
I would imagine it to be low-key, but one thing I wanted to ask you, it just came to my mind right now. Is there more to do in Green Bay than there is in Canton?
During the season, Green Bay was definitely the way to go.
Of course.
It's like party culture over there. It's like a college. It's like college parties going on.
That I didn't know.
That's how
I didn't know.
That's how it feels. It's really like game day. It's just you wake up, people were drinking outside because it's a neighborhood around the stadium in Green Bay. So people were barbecuing, having parties, going crazy. The Hall of Fame, I feel like, was a little more collective, a little more
like professional, a little
way more professional. Is definitely the way to say it.
That's fair.
Because the museum is just like an artifact for the NFL.
That's true.
A lot of stuff is being held, like serious stuff, and the museum is right next door to the stadium. So it was definitely more higher echelon of football experiences.
That's fair. I could expect that.
Yeah.
But I was curious because, I mean, obviously the stigma around just Ohio as a whole, everyone feels like there's nothing to do there. But we talked about it. It just didn't seem like there was anything to do in Canton. I know Columbus is fun. I can go on and on about that, but I remember you saying like Canton was a little quiet. There wasn't too much to do outside of the Hall of Fame game.
It really wasn't.
That's funny, man. But yeah, outside of that, one of the things we were going to talk about today. So we mentioned it in the first episode. Both Ray and I, we coached a flag football team, a youth flag football team. The kids were, when we started, 6th grade, right? That was 6th grade?
Yeah, 6th grade when they started.
So we did that for about a year. And yeah, you started in September, I think. I joined along around October time. So we did that up until about 2 months ago. Yeah. So that was a great experience. But that being said, I wanted to ask, what was your favorite coaching moment, your favorite coaching memory, funniest experience you had while we were working together with the kids?
There really are so many. I can't thank the parents enough. They were so appreciative and so helpful along the process. This was our first time ever doing anything like this.
For sure.
So it was a little rattling because these are all kids, never played football before. One of them was my brother, so that's why we weren't just coaching random people. It wasn't that. The month when it was by myself was really stressful.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I was very nervous. I basically let the kids walk all over me for a while. But slowly as we got more comfortable with each other, better communication, all that stuff, things started to come along. And I got to say, one of my favorite memories was one of the first games I had, probably my first or second game. You weren't even there yet.
Okay.
Obviously, these kids, they all want to be the one to score touchdowns. They all want to be the spotlight. They all want to play quarterback. That's really the big thing is. And I'm not going to name drop anybody. One of the kids was really adamant about playing quarterback, but he was a really little kid. Like, he couldn't really throw that far, couldn't throw that hard. So I was like, listen, man, like, everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. You were the fastest kid I've ever seen in my life. But you can't throw that far. So it's like, if I could give you handoffs, I'd rather you do that than throw. One day he breaks down crying in the middle of a game. I'm like, dude, you can't let this bother you. It's not just about football. It's about everything. Not everything is just given to you. You're going to have to work for it. You're going to have to work for it over and over again.
Yeah.
And I said, listen, everyone has their strengths. The very next play, this kid takes a handoff the distance of the field and scores, and I had to remind him. I was like, you might be upset with me now, but I'm not that crazy. I obviously know what I'm talking about if you just scored, like I said. So, and seeing the expression on his face and seeing his dad's face, it meant a lot, because you could see I'm finally getting to these kids, and You know, that was one of my favorites.
For real. I know exactly who you're talking about, too.
Yeah, of course.
That kid is a stud. He's an athlete. He really is. He doesn't come across like it, but I swear you get him the football or you put him in a position to do something athletic, and he can do way more than what you would anticipate.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. But that's what I didn't even know that happened before I got there. I know he always wanted to play QB, but I didn't know like the extent of how badly he wanted to.
Oh yeah.
So that's funny.
Yeah. So you didn't see all that crying we did beforehand. You see how far the kids went in just a month. So
oh my God,
what it went through in 10 months.
Drastically different from when we first started. But I was gonna say, from when I was there, it seemed like most of them, I guess after a certain amount of time, they ended up wanting to play receiver. Yeah. A lot of them, especially like, we said, like we won't name names, but like some of the more taller kids.
You don't have to say names because I know exactly.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. They wanted to play receiver so bad. I think mostly because like the gritty and like how
everything
how
going
big
on
that got.
NFL football, so
it just looks like the more fun position or the more
of
personality
course.
For sure. But going along with the receiver thing, there was one kid, and I know who you know who I'm talking about. No, not the one that I was mentioning before. He joined the team like probably halfway through when we were coaching.
Oh, this one.
You know who I'm talking
about.
I know
who you're talking about.
This kid, I promise you, he was the equivalent. You know Baby Gronk, that kid?
Yeah.
That kid was Baby Gronk.
Yeah.
He was literally Baby Gronk. Baby Gronk ain't got nothing on this kid we're talking about right now. He was legitimately Rob Gronkowski miniature. So my funniest moment, this kid, because once I started joining along, I kind of got more control of the offense. You were kind of manning the defense. And obviously, like, you would come in and we would, work together and do the offense. But there was times where you would just give me the playbook and say, here, just call it offense. So once we got this kid on the team, every time we had to throw the ball, I was always telling our quarterback, whoever was playing, he's the first option. He's the first guy you look at. He's the first read. Right. That's where you're going with the ball, unless he's getting double covered or unless something is, off or different. So long story short, the entire time this kid was on the team, we would get him the ball, and it became so commonplace for him to just come down with it, whether there was like 3 or 4 defenders on him. His last game.
Oh, I remember.
Last game. He told us before he might have to leave early because he's a multi-sport athlete. I think he played soccer. Yeah. He had a soccer game. Funny enough, I think he was the goalie, which makes sense. He has great hands.
You're actually mixing him up. He was the striker.
He was?
Yeah. He was a striker.
Oh.
You're thinking of another kid who was actually a goalie.
I know. Okay, I remember. I remember who now. Yeah. I remember who it was.
Easy mix up. Yes. They're athletes. They're athletes.
That's so funny. But funny enough, this kid was gonna go play a soccer game right at the same time, or like halfway through our flag football game was going. The play before this kid leaves for good, like from the team.
Yes. He
comes to me. He's like, Coach Chris, I think I'm gonna score a touchdown before I go. I was like, I mean, you could try. It's so much easier said than done, especially because we weren't close to the end zone. We weren't in the red zone. We were probably at the equivalent of the 30-yard line, like our own 30. Yeah. He's like, Coach Chris, I think I'm going to score a touchdown before I go. I'm like, you know what? If you do that, that'd be awesome. That would be a great way to end it. But, you have this one last drive before you got to go, get on to your game. We'll just play it play by play. She's like, okay, no problem. So this kid told me he wants to score. I'm going to give him a play where I think he can have a chance to score. If it doesn't work, we'll get back to the drawing board. I send this kid on a streak, like a 9 route, just go deep. I promise you, there was probably like 3 kids on him. He mossed all of them, and then he ran the other half of the field for a touchdown.
That sounds about right.
The same, like, I'm not even joking, 10 seconds before. Yeah. Coach Chris, I think I'm going to score. I'm like, all right, cool. And he just goes and does it. And then the funniest thing, it was he scored so much that he just did it, and he's like, all right, bye, guys.
Yeah.
He just left. He just left.
That sums up the day. Yeah, that's it.
But that kid, I swear, he's going places. If he sticks with football, I can see him being like a legitimate tight end.
Yeah.
High school, college, like he can go places.
Oh, yeah.
The kid is an athlete. But speaking of top players, one of the ideas that I had for us to talk about today is a segment that I wanted to come up with, segment that I kind of wanted to incorporate into the show every once in a while called Hate It or Rate It. So obviously there's a saying, like I don't really know where it's common or where it's prevalent, but if they like something, like, yo, I rate that. I don't remember where it's from, but I I remember hearing it. So either you hate it or you rate it, like you like it. So the one that we're doing today, we're gonna be taking players in the league and putting them with their rapper equivalent, or like a rapper who you can say is comparable to them. So, floor is yours. I want to hear the first one you got.
Okay. When you told me it wasn't just quarterbacks, I got really excited because I thought we were limited to just quarterbacks. But this is one I love. I hope I didn't steal your artist or player you're using. Fred Warner and DMX.
I was not expecting to hear that.
I know. It's one of those things. Fred Warner, I've never seen a football player actually like fly like he does. Okay. Have you seen like Fred Warner highlights? Just sat down and watched Fred Warner highlights?
Oh, he's a dog. I haven't sat down and watched him, but I've like him specifically, his highlights, but I've seen him like in games. And
he is just, I love the middle linebacker position. Watching him is so fun. Because it's like, middle linebacker isn't that player like, oh, it's so fun. Like, I want to be middle linebacker, whatever. He makes it look so appealing to the eye.
That's fair.
He does everything. He could rush. He could play coverage. He doesn't miss a tackle. He just flies and he hits. And when I think of like his highlights, the thing that comes to my mind is like a hype DMX song.
Like X Don't Give It To You or something.
That's exactly. Of course, that's the one everyone's going to default to.
Yeah.
But there's so many just clips in my mind that I play a DMX song behind it, and it fits. Fred Warner's the hardest hitting person in the league right now, and it works. I think it works.
I was not expecting that, but I'm not mad at it. Like personality wise, I don't think it's because I feel like Fred Warner is like very like chill, calm, quiet. Yeah. DMX obviously was like very loud, outspoken. So in that regard, I wouldn't get it. But when you take like his style of play, I see it. Especially when you said like you could picture the song in the background.
Always,
absolutely, I can see that. That's hilarious, bro. Okay, I will say that I did not have that one at all.
Okay, good.
I have
steal a player.
Okay, no, you're all good. The one I'm gonna go with right now, offense QB. I feel like once I say it, you'll just know. Aaron Rodgers, Kanye.
I was afraid one of us would use Kanye because I'm like,
really?
Whatever they compare Kanye to, they're gonna make it seem like they're a super villain.
No. Okay, so you can't lie though. I will put this out. Because this could be very controversial. There are many of times where Kanye West says something out in public, like there's no spinning it, no nothing.
Yeah.
He'll say something and flat out it's just wrong, it's just ignorant, and it just shouldn't have been said in the first place. There's many of times where he has that criticism and it's 100% warranted. I'm with that. However, I do think there are times where he may say something, and just like how the media does, especially big outlets, they'll take part of it, a fragment, and they'll spin a narrative around it, and that becomes the most common thought of that person. Is there times where it's justified with Kanye? Absolutely. 100%. I don't think he's the best guy in the world. But in regards of how the media can spin a narrative to make a person out to be like a villain,
you got me.
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, yeah.
Not to mention, like the genius element, like the narcissistic genius type of element, 100%. And we're going to talk about this later, the Hard Knocks episode. Once you see how he is around his teammates, you see that narrative is just not true. It's so false.
It is.
It's 100% false. But with how the public perceives him,
I really like
and the greatness that he could bring to where...
You got me. This is nice. I was like, in my head when you said this topic, I was like, oh, like Antonio Brown and Kanye West. But I like the way you spun it way more.
Okay.
The way you spun it was way better.
AB makes sense too. He definitely like.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go with a little more.
I actually really like that one. That one, there's no topping that one. I feel like that was the best one you could have said.
I have a better one for you.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'll save it. I want you to go one more. I want to hear what else you have.
Okay. Mine was pretty basic though.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sure?
Of course. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
Okay. It was Brian Robinson and 50 Cent. There's like, the jokes write themselves. That's it. The jokes write themselves. If you're going to compare NFL players to rappers, this is it. Brian Robinson walked out to the 50 Cent song that he wrote after getting shot. So the jokes write themselves.
It's just like those situations don't happen that frequently. So for it to happen to this.
Yeah.
Like,
in the same sense. Yeah, exactly.
Like you can't beat that.
No.
That's just a given compare. Like,
it was
that makes
so
sense.
easy to just say that.
And he set that up himself by walking out to the song the week
he
came
knew what
back.
he was
like,
doing.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing.
So yeah, that's one where I'm not mad at that. Like I get why you say it's basic, but at the same time,
Yeah.
who else would you be able to compare to 50 Cent? You know? So I get that.
And when else are we ever going to talk about Brian Robinson? You're welcome.
Listen, from a fantasy perspective,
no. We'll talk about fantasy.
We can talk about that later. We have
a lot of fantasy stuff coming up for the season.
That's so true. We will touch on that later.
We'll eventually get to him.
But I'm not mad at that. Yeah. I'm not mad at that. This one I literally thought of it today, and I thought it was perfect. I'm throwing it back. Deion Sanders and Tupac.
That's good.
The epitome of 90s greatness.
Yeah, I wanted to compare someone to Tupac so hard, but I just couldn't think of somebody to compare. Like
it is hard.
With some the old great rappers, it was really hard to compare.
Yeah.
So that's actually, I like that one a lot though.
They're both considered the GOAT. That's just greatness in the 90s. Like and they're both outspoken, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone knows who they are. You say Prime, you say Pac, everyone knows who you're talking about. So, and if Tupac was here today, the impact he would have on rap as a whole, I think would be the equivalent of what Deion is doing right now. Maybe not. Well, I don't know. He might be mentoring younger rappers. I could see him putting them on game and whatnot. But from an impact perspective and just what they mean to the culture, whether it's rap or football, I think that's the most spot on depiction of who you could say for both.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like that one a lot.
All right, cool. You got one more or not?
Honestly, you take the last one because I know what the last one you're gonna say is, and I'm really excited to compare it, to hear it.
Oh, you know who I'm saying?
I think I know what you're gonna say.
Who do you think I'm gonna say?
No, I don't want to spoil it for the people.
Aaron Donald?
That's not what I thought you were gonna say.
Who did you think I was gonna say?
I thought you were gonna say Lamar Jackson.
No. Okay, so context. I came up with 8 of these. I was so into this topic.
I could tell.
And I could ramble off. I had Odell and Young Thug. I had DK and Uzi. I had a bunch of, but Aaron Donald and Kendrick Lamar.
Okay, you need a little explanation there.
So just the basic one out the way. That Los Angeles, that California comparison right then and there. Obviously, Kendrick's from Compton. Aaron Donald, even though they started in St. Louis, he came to LA at some point. But when you talk about who's the greatest of this generation right now, and I would say the 2010s, Kendrick Lamar has been on top from the beginning. Section 80, Good Kid, Mad City, Damn, To Pimp a Butterfly. He's always been considered to be the one on top. Maybe not the most popular pick by any means, but from a talent perspective, from a style perspective, everyone always considered him to be the GOAT of today.
Okay, I like that.
Aaron Donald, he's been we talked about it last episode, the longest tenured 99 Club member.
Yes. I
don't see how anyone beats him in that category other than... No, not that category, but from a dominance perspective, other than J.J. Watt, you have that discussion there. But I think in terms of tenure, how long he was able to be dominant for and still be dominant today, same way Kendrick's still able to be dominant today. Yeah, I think that accurate depiction would be Aaron Donald for sure.
I do like that. That was a good explanation. I'm definitely a fan of that one. Aaron Donald, that's a hard one to compare, but it works. So.
Right? Definitely. I was trying to think of
I appreciate that one.
Yeah. Dude, because the other one I was trying to really think of one for, and I was really struggling. Drake. I couldn't think of anyone other than Mahomes, but even then, Mahomes is too. Yeah, that's an easy one. Mahomes is too new in a sense. Drake has been running since 08. Mahomes has been here since 2016. Right? Or 15? 16?
He was drafted with Watson, so that was 15.
Okay. So, it's just not long enough of a run to be considered. Those are my 3 of the ones I came up with that I thought were the most accurate.
I love that. Yeah, you definitely killed this one. I was really lacking. I was really having a hard time thinking of stuff.
So. No, it's all good. I actually, the Fred Warner one, I really liked because of how off guard it got me. I wasn't expecting you to say that, but, when you initially said it, I was questioning it, but after you explained it, I'm a fan of it. So, no, you definitely did your thing. I love both comparisons for sure.
Thank you.
Speaking of, again, top players, recently NFL Top 100 list came out. Yeah. Any thoughts, any feedback? What is your take with...
I love the NFL Top 100 so much.
Me too.
I love it. I think there's usually no better way to determine an actual ranking order than to ask the people who play the game and compete against each other. So... I think this is the most accurate depiction of the best players in the league. Right?
Okay.
The top 10, spot on. No issues at all. Obviously, there's some questionable ones real late, like 100, 90s, 80s. There's going to be like a few things people question, but
For sure.
definitely a big fan. Obviously, some of my favorite players ended up in the top 100, which I love to see.
Absolutely.
And I know the same thing with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so where do you want to take this?
Honestly, so the first thing I want to do is kind of go over my biggest takeaways from this whole list, right? Because I really did a deep dive. I try to look at everything. First and foremost, the 49ers are so dominant, it's not even funny.
It's hard.
They had 8 players on the list.
Yeah.
For context, the Super Bowl winners, the Kansas City Chiefs, only had 3. That's crazy to me.
How many did the Eagles have?
7.
Oh, that's
I looked at them too.
Wow,
they had a lot too.
But
the Niners,
yeah, that's crazy,
bro.
8.
How many on
offense? How many of the offensive players?
Honestly, I'm not sure. Let me look right
Kittle
now.
easily.
Yeah,
CMC obviously.
Kittle, CMC was
Trent
there.
Williams, okay. So
Trent was there.
It might be half and half. Is it split half and half?
It might be.
Because on defense,
Trent.
yeah, it is split half and half. Who's their fourth?
Who was that? That was 3. No, on offense.
Okay,
no?
so defense definitely Hufanga,
Bosa, Nick Bosa,
Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw were on it.
Yes.
I can't think of another defender that would be on it. Did Debo somehow creep his way onto this top 100?
Did who?
Did Debo?
He is. He's here.
Oh, he is.
He is.
So then they have Kittle, CMC, Debo, Trent Williams. Okay, yeah, it is 4-4.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Oh, yes. Okay, I forgot.
Yes. So, wow.
But isn't that crazy?
You know how much I despise the 49ers.
I love them.
They are easily, from growing up, my least favorite team. The amount of times they eliminated the Packers in the playoffs.
Yeah, I was going to say, from a Packers
fan's
fan's
really
perspective.
Sickening when you look at it. Oh, they passed on Aaron Rodgers in the draft, and I love Aaron Rodgers to death, but he just can never beat them in the playoffs. He could beat them in regular season without an issue. He doesn't even bat
It was always, and it was always the NFC Championship too. It was always the game right before the chip.
Oh my God, that last divisional game, man, that hurt. That 13-10 long. Yeah, that hurt. I despise the 49ers, the passion, but that was just from who knows what the next 10 years are gonna look like for them.
Honestly,
it's like as close as they get every year. They're not a Super Bowl team with that quarterback, whoever it happens to be.
You don't think with Brock they can make it?
I don't know. I really don't know.
With really how loaded and balanced their entire team is.
And that's another thing. Like, if they don't, they are really running out of time because these people need to get paid.
That is true.
Funga is, I think, was he a rookie?
I feel like he's in his second year.
I feel like they would have made a bigger deal. If then he's in his second year, this is his third year. This is a contract year.
Yeah.
This is a contract year for him. Bosa, this is fourth or is this
he's coming up on it. I know for sure.
He's gonna get paid. Trent Williams is old. He's gonna retire pretty soon.
No, he's like what, 31?
No, I think he's a little older. He was considering retirement after this season.
Oh yeah,
they just restructured his contract.
That is true.
Kittle has to be having a contract up soon. Debo is getting way too much money for what he did last year.
That's true.
CMC is also making a lot of money.
And they have Ayuk too. Ayuk is great. I love Brandon Ayuk.
Is Ayuk still on a rookie contract? I don't think so.
No, I don't think
so.
No, I don't think so. I wouldn't think he is. Either way though, like
yeah, the team has depth. They have superstars. It is, yeah. So it's 8 players is really impressive.
Right? So, and especially for the team that won the Super Bowl to only have 3, for someone who didn't even make it.
And the team that lost having 7 is crazy.
Bro. The same way you hate the Niners is the same way I hate the Eagles. I despise the Eagles. I despise everything Philadelphia. I'm sorry if you're from Philadelphia and you happen to watch this. I don't like your city. I will be blunt.
That's fair.
Like, as a New Yorker, as someone who's visited, I've not had the greatest experience with your sports teams nor your public transportation.
Yeah, that was fair.
So I will put that out there. But that being said, I can't deny how talented that team is from top to bottom. So them having 7, I'm not surprised. And for the Giants' sake, I hope they're able to kind of cut that number down.
What did the Giants have 2?
They had... you just reminded me of one of my key takeaways. They had 2. They had Dexter Lawrence and Saquon.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Andrew Thomas wasn't on the list. How?
That's a good question. There weren't a lot of offensive linemen at all this year.
So that is true.
I feel like way less than past years.
That's true. So I wrote it down.
Guard.
There was only 7 O-linemen.
There was 1 guard.
Yeah.
Was it 1 or 2? It was 1.
There was 1 guard. It was Zach Martin.
Guard.
1 center.
There were 2.
No, it was only 1 guard.
Chris Lindstrom wasn't on?
Oh, he was. That's my fault. I
Okay,
left
so
that
there
off.
was-
I left
there
it
was
off.
just
So there
two.
was two. There was two. There was only one center. It was only Jason
One
Kelsey.
center.
Eagles, of course.
It's hard with offensive linemen. Like, who's watching football? Like, oh, I'm just gonna watch the offensive line.
Yeah, no one does that unless you're watching
No
like
one
all
says
22
that.
or like
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
watching
yeah,
like,
yeah. Or
like
you're an
your
NFL
team.
scout.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah,
So
so-
unless like you said,
But defensive line, it's like it's all you see. It's all
I
you
know.
See, so
and
it's
yeah,
hard.
like we were talking about it before. D linemen and edge rushers, the most out of any group. I grouped those two together, but they had the most out of any group in the top 100. They had 22. They almost made up a quarter of the entire list.
A quarter of the top 100.
That's
is
insane.
crazy.
That's insane. Also, one of my biggest takeaways or one of my biggest issues, discrepancies, they only put 3 tight ends. I understand the 3 they put. Obviously, you're going to put Kelsey, you're going to put Mark Andrews, you're going to put Kittle. Those are by far the top 3. But TJ Hawkinson was really good last year.
Definitely could have slipped in.
He was second in receiving yards for tight ends,
100%.
and he wasn't on the list at all.
100% should have been on that list.
Evan Ingram, 4th in receiving yards.
That's another good one where that's borderline. That's borderline now for a lot of people. Just
Yeah,
'cause
which I get it. I get
A
it.
lot of his production came in the last 4 games, so it was really like.
I get it.
Same thing.
I'm not mad at it. And as like someone who has mixed emotions with Evan Ingram, I think he's a great person. I think he's a great talent. It's just he
He is
didn't
a
work
great
well.
talent.
Yeah, he didn't work well with our team.
No, absolutely.
No
yeah.
one really worked well with our
Definitely.
team. Nothing personal. But I think he definitely deserved to be in that conversation or maybe in like an honorable mention list because I know they put out like maybe like 10 more people who didn't make it but were like on the brink. So I get that. And then also I think Patrick Surtain absolutely should have been over
I was
Jalen
hoping
Ramsey.
you'd bring this up. I was really hoping you'd bring this up because the cornerbacks
They were a little
they were a little they were
Controversial.
scattered.
A little
They were really
controversial.
scattered too. I think the top cornerback was 23.
It
which
was
I feel like
Sauce.
a little low.
It was Sauce, and then Jair came
At 26,
26
right
right
and
after.
Jalen the 30s.
Jalen was 36. Then Surtain came at 49.
Was there only 4? No, there was
No,
more
no,
than
no.
4.
So I'll read you the corners.
Okay,
It went
okay.
Sauce at 23,
Yeah.
Jair at 26, Jalen Ramsey at 36, Surtain at 49, Trevon Diggs at 60, Darius Slay at 65. That was
Yes.
another issue I had. I feel like those two
Yeah.
should have been flip-flopped. Tariq Woolen at 76, not mad at that.
Yeah.
Marshawn Lattimore at 89 and Marlon Humphrey at 92.
Okay, really quick. I just have to like get this off my chest. I hate the people who think Tariq Woolen, who is an amazing player. He's
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God, he's a ball hawk.
The way he shattered expectations last
What
year
is
was
he,
insane.
6'4", and he ran like a 4'2".
Yeah,
Like,
he's
that's
an athletic
athlete.
anomaly.
But for people to say he's better than Sauce is absurd.
it's not true.
And they're only saying because of the picks.
Yeah,
You
bro.
can't get picks if you don't get thrown at.
That's like saying Trevon Diggs is better than Surtain or like
Yeah,
it's not true.
it's one of those
or
things,
Jair,
like, that's insane.
No, it's not true.
That's
It's
insane.
important. Don't get me wrong. That's a very important statistic, but in
Yeah.
terms of like that's one moment of a game where you have to be locked down for an entire game.
Yeah, interceptions are one of those things where it's like, I don't need interceptions, right? Because you're playing cornerback because you're on defense. You don't need to catch the ball. Mm-hmm. You need to like get the ball down. That's it. So
Absolutely.
that's exactly what Sauce does. People don't test Sauce.
Absolutely. Not to mention Sauce is an athletic freak too. What's he, 6'3"?
man. With an 8-foot wingspan. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Not to mention he's
Something like
fast. Like
Yeah.
he's a freak of
he
nature
is the
too.
cornerback build that you make.
Yeah, the prototype. He
is-
100% is the
That's what he
prototype.
based the body off of.
Yeah, he's unmatched. So I'm not mad at him being number one.
Yeah.
Even though it was a rookie season, I understand
Yeah.
like maybe there's like a respect aspect you have to factor in, but the way he played, I'm not mad at him being number one. But
Yeah.
Surtain being behind Ramsey upset me a little bit, only because I feel like Jalen Ramsey is a little bit on his decline right
He is
now.
definitely on decline.
He's starting to hit his decline, and I feel like Surtain isn't even at his peak yet.
Yeah.
So that was another thing. And then just one more thing, not an issue I had, but I mean, for a lot of people, it was an issue. I'm just happy about it. Fields coming in at 86 over Trevor Lawrence
Trevor
made me
Lawrence.
so happy.
I don't
It made me
get
so
it.
happy. I get why people were upset about it. I'm a Fields stan. I understand Trevor Lawrence statistically and impact-wise had a stronger year than Fields for sure, but I think that's literally just going to be the first of many times where Fields is going to be ranked higher over him.
Does Fields deserve to be in the top 100? Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
he deserves to
yeah.
be in the top 100. Does he deserve to be over T-Law?
Yeah, that's
No,
where the question.
I really don't think so.
Right, yeah.
T-Law took this Jaguars team to the playoffs. Had one of the best comebacks in playoff history. Fields won.
To be
3
fair,
games.
he put them in that position.
and took them right back out.
I get it. But 4 picks in 1/2 is kind of insane.
I don't know.
That was
are
insane.
those 4 picks the reason he's below Justin Fields? I don't
No.
know. That's insane.
No. You can't take one game and then put it over an entire season's body of work. That's not fair to any player. But that being said, I do understand the situation that Fields is in compared to Trevor Lawrence. The talent on both rosters, or you can't compare the two. Like Fields had practically nothing to work with, partly because of injuries, partly because of just lack of depth, lack of talent. Trevor Lawrence had some help around him, so by far, like he had the better situation. But I will say, like the Bears were very competitive in a lot of the games they lost, and the only reason why that was the case was because of Justin Fields. So
yeah, that's fair. So.
I understand why people were upset about it. As a Fields stan, I love to see it. I love him getting respect.
Fair enough.
You saw, bro, unrelated. He has the most bets on him to win MVP this year.
Yeah, because the odds are so low.
I
It's
know.
like that's so much money if it somehow manages
If that
to
hits, that would be insane.
he would just make hundreds of millionaires.
Dude, it would be insane. Listen, I love him. Do I think it'll happen this year? Not necessarily. Do I think it'll happen at some point? I think so, but yeah, he has a lot of money being bet on him right now.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's an interesting fact. I had no idea.
Yeah, I saw it like 2 or 3 days ago.
That's cool. That's exciting.
It is. You like seeing the young guys have a chance to really, become the face of the league. So, especially with what he was put through the first year with Matt Nagy. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Horrible. Then learning a new system the next year, having no talent. I get it, but I'm hoping for the best for him. I always do. He signed my jacket one time at Ohio State, so that was a great experience, one of my best memories. But yeah, and then one more thing I wanted to throw at you, because I understand why it happened, but at the same time, from a talent perspective, I disagree. They put Jamar behind CD and AJ Brown.
Yeah, it's a little weird. I don't know.
He missed 5. He had 5 less games, but he was tied with CD for touchdowns. He was only behind AJ by 2, and even though he played 5 less games, he was only behind CD Lamb by roughly 300 yards, and AJ by 450. He would have made up for that within those 5 games.
Oh my God, I think he shatters that in those games. So
and he was only So statistically, I get it. He didn't play as much. Best ability is availability.
Yeah.
I understand that, and no argument with that. From purely talent, I heavily disagree.
Yeah, so do I. So absolutely, I do.
Yeah. I think it'll change a lot this year. I don't see him.
You can't predict health, but
of course,
all things considered, he should.
Yeah, I don't see him performing worse than either of the two.
I think he will.
Absolutely. So yeah, man, that top 100 list, it's a great event every year.
I love it. I love it. I look forward to it.
Me too, especially because of how they reveal it. It's like some sort of anticipation behind each and every reveal. So
they really hype it up. So
yeah, it's fun to watch. It's very fun to watch. And then last, like we're moving fast today, but just from a purely fan perspective, there's been so much football content coming out lately, and it is so nice to watch. It really is.
Yeah.
Like,
really
did you watch the quarterback series?
Did I watch the quarterback? Of course. It's the sky blue. Of course I watched the quarterback
series. I was blowing your phone up about it the first day it came out.
I hadn't realized it was out. So when you told me, I was ecstatic. Because the offseason is such a drag.
It's so hard to get through. It really is.
March is really boring. End of April, you get combine stuff.
The draft
but,
and
May,
process.
you get the draft. I love the draft. But only the first night because I don't it's only so much you can do.
Of course.
Then June, July, and then you finally get to August when you get the top 100 and training camp starts. And even still, preseason's a little boring because these are people just getting to the league, older people who are trying to get a spot on the roster. So,
of course. You have to be a real fan to really enjoy the preseason.
Yeah.
So you have to be a real fan.
It's a real drag to September. It really is. So to see them come out with this quarterback documentary, you're following the 3 quarterbacks, Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and Marcus Mariota.
Yep.
Love Marcus Mariota. Huge fan. Always been. I loved it. I really did. I know Mahomes is going to be the highlight. Mahomes went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, 100%.
For 21 weeks. But, man, I love when Kirk was on the screen. I loved it so much.
Dude, that was one guy who I think really changed an entire, perception of him.
Yeah.
Of himself.
Oh, yeah.
I think nobody came away from that show not liking Kirk Cousins. Everyone loved him. He was such a likable guy.
It was amazing to just see their family lives and see what they go through on a daily basis. I loved, but there was something about the way Kirk carries himself.
Yeah.
He goes into these situations people hate on Kirk Cousins.
Oh my God, the whole primetime stigma,
one of the most hated
narrative.
quarterbacks I've ever seen for no real reason. I mean, you choke in primetime games. He was 13-3.
Yeah, he wasn't that bad. No, last year was a great year for them.
Yes, obviously he's had up and downs, But you finally, Justin Jefferson obviously helps. Obviously, Dalvin Cook in
Any
the backfield
quarterback would benefit from him
really
being there.
did help. But not just anybody could go 13-3.
Yeah, that's a very hard feat. That's very, very difficult.
That's so hard. Think about it. The Packers did it back-to-back years because they had the back-to-back MVP.
Yeah.
Like, that's just 13-3 is a crazy thing.
Wait, no. Because remember, we have 17. So was it 13-4?
Oh, that's right. Because they
Was
sat. Yeah, so it was 13-3, then 13-4.
Yes.
You're right.
Okay,
You're right.
That just took me. Yeah.
I think Love played that game actually. I think Love came in like the second half of that game. So that wasn't Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers 13-3.
Yeah.
So yeah. So Kirk Cousins just it really opened my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great guy. He's a real family man, which I really appreciate. And it was just really touching seeing like him behind the scenes. I don't know.
Yeah, man.
Something
Like
close to home.
Dude, even with his wife being there, bro.
Yeah.
When she said like when the games get too intense, she'll just like turn away and put on her like church music. That was so funny.
That's
the whole
think
target.
about.
Yeah.
Like having to see your family member, your husband, son, like go out there get hit like that.
Mm-hmm.
It is hard. I remember us playing high school. My mom would get scared.
Yeah.
So imagine what these professionals are going through. Like, and I know Brittany's very hated on. Obviously, like whatever you want to think. But seeing what she was like going through, stressing out in the sideline, like it's hard to watch sometimes.
Absolutely.
And I do feel for her.
Absolutely.
I feel for all of them. I feel for everyone. So it was nice, and I think it opened up a lot of people's eyes. You know,
Absolutely.
Some people just see them as people on a screen. And
yeah,
they are real people with real families, and I loved it. I loved every second of it.
Absolutely, especially because football is one of those games where you don't really get that much face time when you're watching it live. Everyone's face is covered by a helmet. Everyone's wearing a uniform jersey. Like you can't really tell an individual person from each other when you're really watching from a distance the way a game is shown. Yeah. But when you really, like you said, like you just take off the helmet, you get into their day-to-day lives, how they interact with their family. You just come away with such an appreciation for who they are as people and like the sacrifice they put themselves through. Yeah. Especially the sacrifices that their family has to put up with watching it. And like you said, a lot of people, myself included, I will not lie, before the series came out, I wasn't the biggest fan of Britney because of how, again, like she can be a victim of the media. Yeah. How they take one thing and they kind of spin it, form a narrative, and push that out there for people to kind of, all get that one opinion, that one, solid take of what they made her out to be like. But she was a very supportive partner. She was always there, always cheered on Pat, was always there when things didn't go his way or didn't go as expected. She was a very, very likable character in the lens of the series. Mm-hmm. And that was another person who I just came away from that show just having more of an appreciation for.
Can't agree more.
Absolutely. So she definitely was likable. And then of course, this time of year we're recording, so this episode we're recording the week that the first episode of Hard Knocks came out.
Yes.
Did you get to watch that first episode?
Yes.
What did you think? What did you think?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And I think, obviously, the Jets were the team to do.
Yeah.
They were the team to do. They were quarterback away last year. Mm-hmm. And over the summer, they get one of the greatest to ever play the game. So everyone's really excited to see what's going on, get a look. And they really fought back. They did not want to do Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
People don't really think about this, but Hard Knocks is such a criminal invasion of privacy.
It's so invasive. It's
really,
it truly
it's almost crude.
It really is.
To see people get cut, to see issues behind the scenes, it is a little, what's the word?
Unsettling, I guess you could say.
It's definitely a little disrespectful. So the Jets really had to fight back, and obviously a bunch of rules changed.
Absolutely.
So much so that Hard Knocks actually is going out of their way for them.
Yeah.
Which is one of the things that wasn't a thing before.
Yeah.
So I really love that. Obviously, as a Packer fan, I loved seeing Aaron Rodgers in it and how much they focused on him in the first episode, which was expected, obviously.
Of course.
He's never been in a Hard Knocks, so it was one of those things I'm sure they've been dying to get a quarterback like him. Was Tom Brady ever in a Hard Knocks?
I feel like he wasn't. But again, I'm not definitively positive.
For sure. So I loved it. I loved, obviously, a lot of emphasis on Sauce and Garrett.
Yeah.
that's the future of that team, and it was amazing to see.
For sure.
I love seeing the coaching staff and them getting the respect they deserve, because it's not just the head coaching team. It's the offensive coordinator, the quarterback coach, the linebacker coach, the linebacking coach assistant, like all of them. Even the
equipment guy.
The equipment guy got airtime.
Yep.
You know who else got airtime? The voice behind Hard Knocks.
God.
I loved that. I loved that. I loved it. I loved it.
Dude, yeah. No, you said it all perfectly. I loved like every second of that first episode. I think they captured so many unheard voices, unseen faces, and I walked away just from the first episode with a better appreciation of everyone on the team. Aaron Rodgers, like I mentioned before, like the media, like that has no shame in spinning a narrative on him. He puts himself in the situation sometimes. You say you lock yourself in a cabin for like 2 weeks and take ayahuasca. Obviously, people are gonna look at you type of way. But he was just such a likable guy. I love this guy before. I definitely walked away enjoying him more. I love Garrett Wilson. I love him so much, man. He's such a laid back, chill guy, but he brings that intensity when the moment calls for it. That moment in practice where the offense was going against the defense and he got the touchdown to kind of end the session, and he was just like, yeah, all of you guys eat grass, because they had to do push-ups. I love that intensity.
Love that. That's
I
awesome.
love that. I love that. I'll eat it up every single time you put it on the screen. So I loved watching that whole series. Sauce, obviously, you got to see him graduate. That was a big moment for him.
That was very nice. I love that. I love seeing the players go back and actually finish the degree, because a lot of them just leave.
Yeah, because they don't really have to, in a sense.
Especially if you're a first-round pick. Like, you're making $30 million off the bat. Like, why am I
cares?
getting a degree? But he did it for his mom, and I love that so much.
Yeah, and he also was saying, like, I want to set that example. I want to be that person to kind of set the bar high, so that when those kids who are looking up to him are in that situation where they're faced with the decision to leave school, like have the morals, have the background to really be like, I want to finish and get my degree and have something under my belt more than football. So I really appreciated that. I love seeing that too. Yeah. And then this one just came out. I don't know if you've seen it, because it was actually very new. I think about 2 days ago. The Johnny Manziel documentary.
I haven't gotten to watching it yet,
dude,
but I'm seeing a lot.
It was amazing.
Really?
It really was. The ending was a little like whatever. Only because I understand with a documentary, when you have a player like that who is still in the process of trying to figure things out in his life, you can't really have a happy ending per se. Yeah. But they did as best as they could. And one thing that really threw me off, obviously how big he was in college football, how important he was to Texas A&M.
Oh, yes.
Dude, with the NIL rules the way they were, where you couldn't take $5 if someone just handed it to you, he brought Texas A&M, like in value, approximately $37 million to their whole program.
Documentary.
That's how big he was to their entire
today.
You have to. It was amazing. It was really fascinating. Wow. And like you see the scheme where he did the whole autograph thing and tried to get away with it, and he goes into detail about it and how he was living his life, how he was partying, and how deep, dark of a place he got into when he was in the league. It was so fascinating to watch. Truly,
I have to watch it now
for sure. But I will say, like, and I guess I could kind of end it here. For all the guys out here who are watching, who have a girlfriend, who have a partner, you have a boyfriend, whoever, and they love to watch reality TV shows, love to watch that type of stuff, you have no excuse, because we got our fair share. And the same way you felt, oh, like I don't want to watch that, my girlfriend's making me want. No. If you're going to make her watch all this stuff with you, you better go watch that with her. And I will say that 10 out of 10 times I stand 10 toes on that. Because we're getting our reality shows. We're getting our heavy dose of drama on the day-to-day. And I just want to show love to the women out there who enjoy watching that stuff, because from when you put it in the lens of like what we like to enjoy, or like what like sports fans, whether you're man or woman, whatever, however you identify, if you put it in that perspective, I absolutely see why people would eat that drama up. It is so fascinating.
Fair enough.
It truly is. But yeah, man. Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you have on your mind?
No, I think we hit it. Obviously there's a lot of stuff for next episode. I'm super excited.
For sure. I know
there's always so much to talk about, but we could stay here for hours, but there's only so much time we want to take up.
Of course. I know coming up, because college football is coming up, we wanted to talk a little bit about that, so you can stay tuned for that.
Oh yeah.
We were gonna, like we mentioned earlier, we have some fantasy talk that we're gonna be talking about soon, because if you don't know, us two are in the same league. We're going head to head. We have our draft coming up soon, so that's going to be a lot of talk.
Weeks, 10-man league. I know all the guys in it. We take it too serious. No, you can never take it too serious.
Nah, you can't.
But I love it. I love the people we do it with. So I'm super excited to get talk about it, give updates, and what we think about fantasy, because I know
absolutely
fantasy is getting way more popular now. So
I know, and I love to see it. It kind of gamifies the whole sport, and maybe people who aren't as familiar with it or aren't too privy to watching it live, it kind of gives them a way to appreciate it. So
it does.
That's something I love.
That's something
for
next
sure.
episode. There you go.
But yeah, we have a lot coming up. If you made it this long into the video, like always, we're so thankful that you're able to sit here, kind of enjoy this conversation with us. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share this video if you have the chance to. Send it to your friends, send it to your grandma, send it to your cousin, your first cousin's uncle's, grandma's, brother, whoever. Love if you could do that. Obviously, you don't have to. We're not going to force you.
There you go.
It's not a dictatorship.
Yeah.
But that being said, thank you so much. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media channels. Instagram, we have the Modern Collective ENT. That's kind of the whole, brand that we're putting this all under.
Yep.
The show itself, the Fandomonium show, you can find it on Instagram too. You just search that. It'll come right up. Everything else, the Modern Collective, you can find it. Just type it in. I'm sure it'll come up. But we'll drop all the links in the comments and in the description, of course. And like always, thank you again. And looking forward to catching you next time. Fandomonium show.
C4 sponsor us.
Oh, before we go, because we have been talking about it. I had this in the first episode. This video is sponsored by C4. We're not getting paid by them, and we don't have any sort of connection or ties to them, but we are just saying this video is sponsored by C4. So if by any chance they do see this and they want to actually activate some sort of sponsorship, a genuine one, we'd be all for it. So putting it out there now, speaking into the universe, and hopefully it comes true.
Your lips to God's ears. Good night.
Absolutely. Take care.